Night City is back. We're back in Night City, everybody. Welcome back to Night City.
Say it again.
Night City.
Say it again. Say it again.
Oh my goodness. You like that? You like that?
Did you not think, were you trying to fucking filler words so you could come up with something else?
Let's talk about Night City. Okay.
I mean, the way you say it was cool.
I know, right? Yeah, thank you. Phantom Liberty, everybody.
Okay, there we go.
Keanu Reeves.
Eat yourself, bro.
Oh, man. Songbird.
It's Cyberpunk.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about our review, kind of an impressions episode of Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty paid expansion. Yes, it's a paid expansion. You have to pay extra money for it. You have to have Cyberpunk the game, but with the game, you also get 2.0 Cyberpunk, which is what they've spent. I read an article that they spent over, I want to say it was $120 million since launch.
God
to make this game better, to get to the point where we are.
Everybody.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so we're going to talk a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about 2.0 specifically. Okay. And then I also want to talk about Phantom Liberty as DLC, add on the story, some of that stuff, go through all of that. Me and Austin have played it. Jason,
I refuse to play it. I am not going to play it.
Did you how much of the actual game did you play?
I think I played about like 3, maybe 2 hours of it. It's just like
2 to 3, you mean?
Yeah, 2 to 3, whatever. But
Night
it's just
City.
Night City. It doesn't matter because I'm in Night City. No, it's just like there's too much to this game.
Yeah.
There's just way too much going on, and I get distracted. And like, I kind of wish it was like a third-person shooter instead of a first-person.
I do wish
shooter
there was
for
a
some
way to
reason.
kind of go third person sometimes.
Like, well, yeah, mods and
Without
stuff,
a
but
mod.
still, it looks like shit when you do that. But like, I don't know. There's a lot going on with this game and a lot of decision making, and it's just like it's just a little much. And it's not even much where it's like taking over my life. It's much of like it's a complaint of mine. It's just like I can't get into this game at all. And then along with the glitches, I had multiple T-poses happen to me. And I'm playing on the PlayStation 5, and I'm
Mind
like,
you, pre 2.0.
yeah, this is pre 2.0. Well, yeah, it's probably the same, but it's just I don't know. I just could not get into it. It just gave me too much freedom, I guess you would say. So just like the world I'm trying to escape from, it's just too much freedom, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's my opinion on it.
So Cyberpunk 2077. So I want to talk first a little bit about the 2.0 updates, because they have a lot of updates. We've both played them, experienced them, and stuff like that. Austin, now that you've jumped back into the game, do you feel it feels better, more polished, better performing, any of that stuff? Like now that you've been in it pre and post 2.0?
Yeah, everything feels a little better.
Yeah.
Especially playing the DLC.
Yeah.
In the city, or when I was playing, because I started playing the main game because 2.0 came out, right? But ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so I played that a little bit.
Do you start a new character, or just like
yeah, I
as your
started
character?
a new playthrough.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got...
Wait, when you start a new playthrough, it just throws you right into Phantom Liberty?
You can. So once Phantom Liberty came out, you can just start a new game and then go straight to Phantom Liberty.
Yeah. You'll get a phone call
yeah, so
and
you
they're
don't
like,
have
hey, do you
to-
want to
You
answer
don't
this
have
call?
to like play Cyberpunk. How long is Phantom Liberty?
It's supposed to be roughly
like a full-
15 to 20 hours.
Oh, okay.
Which is almost equivalent.
Almost,
Honestly,
yeah.
like the main game was, it might be more like 12 to 13 or something like that.
Okay.
But it's the main game was like 18 to 20 for some people. So not counting side quests and stuff, if you just mainlined it. So it's
Okay.
It's
Sorry,
pretty.
I was just-
pretty
I was just-
lengthy.
I didn't know.
That's a good question. No, so I jumped back in, and yeah, I think everything just seemed a little more fluid and less buggy. But I still found jank in certain areas. It's been a minute since I actually played the main campaign, because I played that like several months ago now.
Yeah.
I had a bug where I was talking to Jackie early on, and we're like going to go to the Ripper Dock, and he was stuck on a chair. Like he was stuck sitting down where I meet him outside my apartment, and he wouldn't get up, and I got in the car and I couldn't drive off, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Did you reload
Are you
it?
fucking kidding me? No, I was like, fuck this game, I'm done. But because Phantom Liberty came out, I was like, okay, let me just try it. You
Now,
know?
was that Ripper
That was
Doc?
before.
That was with 2.0 or without?
That was 2.0.
That was 2.0.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was
For
like,
sure
are you
though,
freaking
like guaranteed.
yeah.
Okay, because Phantom Liberty and 2.0 I think came out at the same time.
Oh, well, then maybe it was before.
Yeah.
Because I thought 2.0
Because it was
came out.
confusing. I thought it came out a while back, but
So
or
maybe
a little
that's-
bit earlier. But
okay.
yeah, let me double check. But I'm pretty
let's
sure it was like
Continue while he's
within a
double
week of each other.
Yeah, so I tried that and I was pissed. So I quit that. But I jumped into Phantom Liberty and I was impressed with the pacing of the story and how everything was
So,
going down.
I'm curious now. You said you just jumped in Phantom Liberty. You didn't have to play the main game. You jumped into it. Do you
Yeah.
still correct your character? Do you put skill points skill points that you would have earned into this character, or do you just start? Is it like just a fresh start?
I believe you have some points unlocked.
Okay.
So you're
So-
already given to you.
If you start with your previous character that you already had, which is what I did,
Okay, yeah.
it resets all of your all of your points for skills.
Okay.
Because they redesigned the entire skill system, but they kept your attribute points that you apply to like your cool, your body, like those things stayed.
Reflexes.
Yeah, all your body abilities.
So those
essentially.
things stay for your original character from 2077.
yeah.
But if I would have jumped into it and not used my OG character and use a brand new
If you
character,
choose a brand new, everything starts from zero.
so everything starts from zero.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm curious
Sorry,
about.
Yeah. So, Austin, the 2.0 came out 5 days before Phantom Liberty. So if you played it 5 days before Phantom Liberty, you played 2.0. Otherwise, you did not.
I can't remember. Because I know I got it because I was like, oh, I'm excited for this. Because
Yeah.
remember, I bought both of those. I feel like I did play like very soon before Phantom Liberty.
I mean, did it have the brand new
But-
skill tree? That's the big thing because that was
Yeah.
the main change. That would be
don't know.
Because
noticeable.
they look.
I don't-
You
I
would have
don't-
noticed.
Yeah,
I feel
you would
like
have noticed.
Yeah, I don't
because
remember.
all your skill points reset, so you had to reassign everything.
Yeah, but I started a new game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
but-
that's
I-
true.
I didn't
Okay,
have
yeah,
it.
oh,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you don't.
fair. Okay, yeah.
You don't remember what the original.
I remember I remember what it looked like, but I don't remember. Anyway, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
I remember.
Yeah.
The main point I want to take away is that I thought it was 2.0, and if it was or it wasn't, it was still janky. Because I remember going in there being like, oh, hopefully this is like a lot better. Because, I want to give it a chance. And playing the main story, I was like, holy crap. There's so, like, the way that this was built and told was just so, like, robotic, honestly. And that actually carries over to Phantom Liberty because eventually I got to a point where there was a cutscene. I'm watching Idris Elba talk to this lady at a bar, and it was just like, he's like, I say things, then I say things, and I emote a certain way, and then I'm gonna walk over here, and now I'm pissed, and I'm gonna jump over this thing and walk out this door, and just like, what the fuck? This isn't storytelling.
So you're kind of like out of the immersive.
Oh yeah, there's no
Feeling.
immersion. There's no immersion whatsoever.
You feel the same?
No, I disagree 100%. Yeah.
Because we were just having this discussion before he showed up.
Saying this though, after having played Baldur's Gate and Starfield, there's no immersion.
Yes,
100%.
zero.
This game, at least there's like cutscenes, there's like movement
better.
of characters, there's
better.
interactivity. I will say some of the dialogue is a little stale, especially like early on with like the president and Songbird. Like some of the interactions that I have with those characters, I'm like, that's kind of a silly line that they said. So there is some of that, but it's not any worse than Starfield. I mean, actually, Starfield's way worse. But
Starfield's terrible.
I love Starfield, but like I think the thing with Cyberpunk though is that I mean what I'm trying to wrap my head around is like there's things that because I'm also very freshly comparing this to like Spider-Man.
Yes.
But Spider-Man's not an RPG.
No.
This is now like this is probably one of the most dense RPGs I've ever played. Like it is so deep now with like the skill trees, the relic system, the character, like everything you change with your character, the dialogue options you have. There's so many dialogue options. There's so many variables with how you like upgrade your character. I mean, it's a full on RPG. Like they nailed it
100%.
finally, I think, which is really cool. But I do agree with a true RPG like that. It's really hard to also nail some of those story hits and things like that. I know The Witcher, I think, hit it really, really well. This one probably doesn't as well, but I think it makes up for it a little bit in that every time I walk through this world, I'm like, holy fuck, that looks so good.
Like the double jump that they give you was like so needed.
Oh, yeah.
Like right off the bat. Now it's unlocked for me automatically because I think I start a new character and they just give you like some points to play with, like things unlocked.
yeah.
I was like, dude, where was this like a long time ago?
Oh, yeah.
I
So,
really needed this.
With the story bit, what is the main goal? What's the main accomplishment of Phantom Liberty? Like, what's the main story of this?
Yeah.
The president, of New America or whatever,
Yeah.
crash lands into a part of Night City that's controlled by like a mob boss guy.
It's basically its own government. Like,
Yeah.
they're not controlled by NCPD or anything like that. Like they got their own like.
Oh, their own like
It's
stuff
kind of like
going
when
on.
Seattle had that like no man's zone like, during
Yeah.
COVID or whatever.
Was that Carl
It's become
zone?
That
Okay.
Yeah. So you get Songbird like hacks you and is like, "Hey, I can save you from dying with the relic chip if you come and help me save the president." And so
President of this government that is on
they called the new United States.
new United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And Songbird's a netrunner, so if you ever watch the anime, she's like a netrunner character who
Yeah.
like does jobs and run. and
Yeah.
so she can like super hacker and stuff like that, and she's on the plane with the president as they're about to crash, and she's basically locking in through his relic to kind of act as if she like actually gets rid of Keanu and like takes the form of her. She comes in as like a 3D hologram and like communicates with him to get him to where he needs to be,
Yeah.
him or her, depending on which character of V you're playing.
he gets experience not having Keanu there,
Yeah,
or so
Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny
a little
Silverhand.
bit. Yeah,
So he's like, "What? You can do this?" So like, yeah, you're like, "Oh, I got hope that I can actually,
Get this through.
Yeah.
Get this thing out of my head. Yeah,
And from what I heard about this game, it turns into almost like a spy thriller. Does it feel like that with the story a little bit?
It hasn't for me. I'm just running gun. I just get in there and bah.
yeah. You have to do it. Like you have to. It enables you to do that, but you're not forced to do it. You can just run and gun and do whatever. But I did play
Spy
it.
thrillers, you still can run and gun. I just
Right.
meant like the storyline because we were just talking about the storyline. I'm trying to just stay on subject with this.
They intentionally they give you moments throughout what I've played so far that's very much like this is a stealth mission. So like there's a part early on where it's like there's like this drone that's outside and you're escorting the president and you have to like hide, and if you don't hide then that you can still continue. Then it's like the drone sees you, now you have to kill the drone, which is really hard to do. Or if you didn't, you just stealth through it and you just continue through and you like made it out okay and they never found you, which could have affected later on in the game too, which I think is kind of interesting. And then there was a point where I came out of this big open area and there's a bunch of guys everywhere. I was like, I could go in there and stealth them, but I got my katana, I got my mantis blades, and I can like stealth kill. So I used my abilities, my hacking, to like ping everybody, to show everybody up in the world, and I just crouched around and I like one by one, stealth kill,
Okay.
stealth kill, and then jumped in a truck and took off. And now you can shoot from trucks too and cars and stuff, which is really cool.
Nice.
You
Yeah,
have like
that's
car
cool.
combat, which car combat's not like the driving still isn't like amazing or anything like that, but it's neat that you can like literally drive down the road and like just start shooting at people like as you're cruising down the street.
Okay.
Like car combat is like a thing now, which never was before.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the DLC, a lot of things feel a lot more refined, but I think they're missing big world building stuff that doesn't translate very well. And you're supposed to tell that stuff through story. And, they've released some things like, I think they're really relying on people to have watched Edge Runners at this point because, it's been so popular.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what caused the
builds the
resurgence
world.
for
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 anyways, was because of Edge Runners.
Who would have thought that would actually
Yeah, I
bring
know.
people back? Because it like built so much up with like people and the world, and it made so much more sense. Even me, I wanted to go back and play some, and I played a lot more then than I did recently. But yeah, I just think it's missing that, and you're expected to know things, or they just forget to like make things happen. And I just feel like I'm doing stuff for no reason again. Like I think the drive for your character to do what he's doing is there, but I just feel like it's still like very flat, in my opinion. As I got farther along in the missions, to the point where I was just like, the way they're telling the story is just not engaging me. So there's no point. Like I can go play something else.
What do you think it is about the story that's not engaging?
I just feel like they fell flat on the animation and delivery of the dialogue,
Yeah.
which was already the problem before, which goes back to my last gameplay when I started again, a new game. And it was the same thing. Like when you first get into Night City and you first meet Jackie and you're in the vehicle, you just got past a checkpoint, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, look, there's guys over there. oh, they're coming for us. And it's just like, shoot them. So I get out of the vehicle. I'm just like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, this escalated so fast with like no explanation whatsoever. Like, there are just so many things. The way that whole sequence plays out was just like, oh, it just, oh, we're doing this now. I felt like there was no lead up. There was no good explanation. It just all just like happens, like because it has to happen to have something happen here. So it's not boring getting to Night City. And I think that's a lot of problems. Like we were talking earlier before the podcast about story and stuff with movies and TV shows and stuff. And like things just kind of have to happen in order to make this show 6 episodes.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I mean, it shows. I mean, we know they had huge problems early on with development and stuff. And, I mean, at this point, it's just glaring.
I love the story of Cyberpunk. I thought it was really good. I think there were some pieces that could have been better, but I think the story and the world they built and the characters that they developed in there were very solid. And the side quests were fucking amazing. They were some of the best side quests I've ever played until probably when I play Spider-Man. Those are probably going to surpass it. But I mean, like the side quests were really, really good in this game.
Yeah.
So like, I do have a different opinion about it. I feel
you finished it.
I feel that this is not a 10 out of 10 even now. It's not at that point, but I think it went from like what was probably like a 7 or an 8 when the game launched because of how many issues it had. This is a very solid 9, like a very, very solid 9. But I think there's so much bad blood in this game that I think it's gonna be hard for people. But like the numbers show, like they got 108,000 people coming in here playing this game right now, 122,000 average in the last 30 days. Like people are back in it, and they've done a good job at redeeming it. It sucks that they had to go through so much shit to do it, and it shouldn't have happened this way. And I never want them to do this again. And I am hoping, like, I want there to be this like redemption arc is basically kind of what I want to see happen, because there was so much good in this game that like this is a kind of RPG I was waiting for, and it didn't deliver it at the beginning because of how broken it was. But now I feel very I think I might replay this, and it may take me a while to get back to Starfield. I think this is a better RPG than Starfield by far. And that's kind of crazy to think about now, but like Starfield is good and I'm enjoying myself, but it's just weird. I mean, I love the world building here. I think is so much more rich than a lot of games that I've played. And there's still some issues with like, some of the characters walking around, they're kind of whatever.
Oh my God. So I stayed in one position, this one area. It was like this little courtyard near one of the missions. And I watched these people literally walk in a circle. I'm like, God dang it. You can't just like go somewhere else, like walk in a bigger circle where
was that post?
No, this was in the DLC.
Was it DLC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just like, I mean, I guess everyone does that. I don't know.
I mean, Starfield
but
does the same thing.
Someone pointed that out like early on before any of the fixes, and they're like, the people just walk in a circle.
Yeah.
But it's like too obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, give me some illusion here. Like have them like walk all the way down the street.
Yeah.
And then turn around.
Yeah.
And there's too many people that look very similar that walk near each other and stuff like that. It's that kind of immersion breaking. Half the time I don't look at it, but I only looked at it because I was like, oh, I know they fixed a lot of stuff, so let me see.
I think the really hard part too is the fact that like
it's too grandiose.
We're so close to every detail because it's first person, because we're on the ground. Like I think about like, again, we'll talk later on Spider-Man, but like Spider-Man, you're never on the ground, hardly at all. So it's like that stuff could be existent in Spider-Man too. We just wouldn't know because how often are we actually like jumping?
Yeah, we don't know it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't.
So it's like, in a game like this, you're so into those different characters, like you notice every little detail.
Yeah.
It's like looking at, Starfield and running around and like picking shit up. It's like, I mean, they had this super detailed 3D model when you're in the menu, but then the thing looks like shit when you're in the actual world. It's like,
sounds like you're hating on Starfield a lot more.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think this is a better game. Like now that I've jumped back into this, I'm like, I'd much rather play this than I would one of that than playing Starfield. And
so what about Rockstar and Red Dead 2? Everybody kind of has their own daily life. They actually do stuff throughout the day,
but it's
and you
not
can
an
follow
RPG.
them. That's true.
It's different focus. That's the thing that I look at is like that's a different type of game.
Okay.
You know, so it's like you have to take liberties of like, you know, if I'm playing
Phantom Liberty.
if I'm playing
Okay.
a racing game,
Whoa,
like I
whoa,
expect
whoa,
that to have
whoa.
the best graphics ever.
Whoa. I don't care if it's RPG or first person shooter. They both have a world with people in it. And those are similar in a way. Let's just take out the whole, like, what kind of game we're playing. Like, if they're both worlds where people walk around,
You have to consider
we can't compare.
No, you have to consider
Okay,
that.
what
because
we consider?
RPG systems are. If you have Red Dead and you have Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
the amount of development time that would have to go into building the RPG systems that are in Cyberpunk,
Yep.
they didn't do that here. So there was like hundreds and hundreds of hours at Red Dead that they had time to make that stuff happen for the characters' daytime because they weren't building all this other stuff. See what I'm saying? So that's a completely different conversation. That's
Okay,
like where it's like comes different. Where it's like Red Dead, it's an action adventure game that was able to focus on survival. They have survival stuff in there, which is very deep and, you know, in depth and stuff like that. Massive open world, and they wanted the AI to feel real, so that's where they focus. And here they focus on the RPG mechanics and like the depth of conversations and all those different like branching narrative things, and that's more like where that happened. And then the density of the world too is still amazing, although like the people aren't as, you know, reactive or whatever, but like just different areas of focus, I think. And it's hard to like, you can't compare the two because they're very different. The top line objectives are different.
I agree with that. Only rebuttal will be is that they put like a focus on like, look at our city, look how crowded it is, look at all this stuff, and
That's true. Yeah,
you see all those like
It has its own life.
that E3 footage, and you're like, whoa, like
The
look at
footage
all
they
these
gave us and
people.
what you actually get is very different.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
that's where people, I think, and me are just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And nothing's really changed.
But for me, like I could care less. Like if they're wandering around me, like I don't really care. Like
What?
I want
You don't want to follow NPC around, see what they're doing?
no
Their
I don't.
day-to-day
Yeah.
life.
It's like when people like pulled up Starfield and they were like, I'm gonna walk across the entire planet. Oh look, there's an invisible wall. I don't give two shits if there's an invisible wall. I'm not gonna sit there and walk across the entire planet.
I
know what I
agree.
mean?
Well, they were pointing that out just because
It's
they
like
wanted.
what's important to the game. You know, that's
Well,
like where-
whenever the developing team or the team itself points out something, there's just like, for example, what you're saying is nightlife city, whatever the fuck it's called, Phantom Liberty bullshit. We have a whole city full of robust people moving around, and you don't have that. You're just asking, you're opening up the door for, hey, come look at this, and people are going to rip into it. Same way with Starfield, saying, oh, we have this massive planet. You can just walk around, do whatever. And people are like, well, I'm going to test that theory. I'm going to fucking, I'm going to run out there, look, invisible wall. So you can't promote something like that, like Starfield did and Cyberpunk, and expect no outcome or no backlash like we're hearing.
100%. I agree with that. 100%.
You should just shut your mouth and just, hey,
yeah.
here's a game.
Let the people figure
Yeah.
out how it's gonna play. You know, it's like that's where I think. I mean, to that point, I mean, I agree. I mean, your points are valid, and
Very valid.
You had an expectation coming into it that
Yeah.
was not delivered on.
Right.
For me, I'm trying to like put that aside because I'm just looking at like what the game is that they gave me. You know, and like it's
But once again, it's hard
It
to
was
put
bad
that to the side when you
advertising,
have
but, yeah.
developers coming out saying that. Because if they lied
it became a
about,
marketing
if
tool
they
and-
lied about that, what else have they fucking just
the
over
bed, yeah.
over
hyped.
hyped?
Yeah,
You know, it's the same way with like Watch Dogs Legion. You can play as fucking any NPC. We see how that went.
Yeah.
It's just
And I agree with you because we go back to Fallout 4, like a lot of people had problems with that game.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I mean, it was still a very successful game. A lot of people did like it. And we could look past some of the jank that was in there that people usually see from Bethesda games. And that's why everyone's like, okay, the next game is going to have to be like way better, way less buggy, less issues, like come out more refined. You get a pass. You know, because the story was actually pretty good, and so
Fallout 76.
oh, god dang it, yeah. Then that was the major stick that broke Count's back.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I agree. Like, if there's a good story that I can get involved in and like can always want to continue pushing forward, I can look past a lot of stuff. Like Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, a lot of people say that the third act is not done. And you could shit on them for that. But because the first two acts and the things that you can do are so well thought out, I think people just push that aside and they're like, there's something super special here.
I don't think I will ever shit on Baldur's Gate. I don't play it that much, but from what I've played and from what I've seen, you can do unlimited things in that fucking game. So they
Exactly.
can fucking there can be a boundary of fucking nothing, or there can be NPCs not doing jack shit. They did a
there is that.
phenomenal job.
Yeah, there are
They did.
glitches
in that fucking game. But as for this game, how is there a difference between 2077 and Phantom Liberty for gameplay wise, besides the skill tree or anything like that, or do they keep it basically
It's
the same?
really just the fact that the way in which you approach the game is it's more tactical. I mean, there definitely is an opportunity for that. And then the story, that's the big main difference. And the new area to explore.
So tactical, you mean a good comparison is like with Far Cry, sneaking around and fucking stabbing people, and then once they get alerted, fucking everyone's alerted, or
I'd
like
say Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah, okay,
It's like being a ghost.
being a ghost.
Yeah, like you have the opportunity to kind of do a Ghost of Tsushima style here, where you can be a ghost or you can be not.
Oh,
a ghost,
you
know what I
mean like samurai or ninja, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I like Austin's sounds like he's playing more samurai because that's just his play style.
Run and gun.
My character I've outfitted my character to be more of a ghost. So I have heavy stat upgrades into blades.
Yeah.
I still have assault rifles if I need to pull out assault rifle.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
wanna
gotta
go pop some
fucking-
people
yeah,
now.
just in case.
But like katana agility, like my reflexes are like up to like top tier, so I can sprint super far. I can double jump. I can do all kinds of flips and shit. So I'm just like, when I enter an area,
Yeah.
I pull out my katana. I'm just like,
Hibachi.
hibachi. Yeah, I'm freaking making sushi over here left and right.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's very different in that approach. But I'm also
You couldn't do that
being
approach in the last
slow.
one a little bit in 2077?
You could, but I think the new upgrades and stuff that they give you, like definitely
kind of lean towards one
guide
more
you
than the
down
other.
those pathways.
I didn't realize how good Cyberpunk was until I played Starfield.
That is a perfect comment on Steam.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Gotta
Everything
save that
Brett
one.
is saying.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think Phantom Liberty so far, I mean, I haven't beat it yet, but it's definitely I'm enjoying what I'm experiencing, and
Yeah.
I like that first story. I definitely had some
Okay.
issues with the end in places, but I also heard that once you beat this story, like it wraps it up in a fantastic
Little bow.
which I'm really excited about.
Oh, nice. What's your negative take on this game then? We know what Austin's is, and that's
Yeah.
mostly the story and shit
Yeah.
like that. What is your like biggest negative take?
My biggest negative, I think, is the first person. Like, as much as I love first person games,
It's hard to sneak around with first person.
that, but also more so, yeah. I mean, yeah, because you're coming around a corner, and it's like you gotta.
Yeah, you gotta
look
like
around.
really. I mean, I get
You
it
can't
gets
look
you.
around your character.
It gets you immersive in the
Yeah.
game, and I understand why they did it and stuff. But like, if it was a third person game, I think I would
Yeah.
most definitely love it. But anyways,
And then the being a melee focused player, that's awkward first person.
yeah,
You're slashing it so close to the screen. I need to change my field
dodging
of
and
view
fucking
stuff.
yeah, that's
That
quite
that
annoying.
part can be, and that would be the only gripe that would keep it from like.
That's what I had the
going
gripe in the
past, like, a
first one.
9 or whatever. Is that? But I mean, everything else. I mean, like the density of this world is just unreal. Like the level of detail everywhere in this is nuts. And what's really like, I mean, you're going through like, you're not just going through like an exterior world and you're going into a building. Like you're going naturally into buildings in so many different ways that I'm like, the fact that I can go from the rooftop, I can go from underground, I can go from a side window, I can go from all these different places in like almost every building in the city. Like not every building, but there's a lot of buildings you can get into that I'm like, how did they?
And when
not
you
only
go into
build the
these
outside, but
buildings,
the inside too.
it's like the inside's built too. That's what I was about to say. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of places that are, especially. I mean, now granted, I don't just like walk in any random building like most of the time, but like, there's so many side quests everywhere that like those side quests will lead you into buildings. And there's way more than you ever expect that are like fully well developed. And
That reminds me of
built out and stuff.
Assassin's Creed Unity. Introduced that a little bit for the Assassin's Creed franchise, where you can go into buildings and cut through, and they had like a lot of detail to it, or go through a window and you can actually walk through and do investigations and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
You recommend it?
I do. I think this is a game that if you haven't played Cyberpunk, I think now is an amazing time to jump into it. If you want to like a
That's
deep,
what I keep
rich
hearing.
RPG, I think it's finally at that point where it's like it's working and it's good and you're gonna enjoy yourself. I think.
Like that one comment said, "Wake up, samurai! We're finally out of early access."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I
Or this
game
one
really
said,
should have been. Early access.
we have a game to restart.
We have a game to restart.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
good.
It's better,
I'm
but
happy
it's
for it.
definitely not. Maybe I hyped myself up too much.
You
And I
both
think-
hyped
I
yourself
think
up
that's the
way
biggest problem
much.
with
And
both
you-
of us,
you hyped me up.
Austin. I think that's the problem. It's like we hyped this up as I hyped this up as this is gonna be the greatest game ever.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great game. I don't think it's the greatest game ever, but I think it is a great game now. But I definitely had way higher expectations than I should have had.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of like, Baldur's Gate, I went into it with 0 expectations and I was like, holy fuck, this game's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I think the expectation pre-launch was definitely bad. But it also, to your point, it wasn't really our fault because, they hyped the shit out of us with
Well, I heard
the videos and trailers.
they
and shit.
did that so they can get investors to have an infusion of cash to help continue the everything.
Explains how they made $120 million.
Yeah.
Put $120 million into it
Yeah,
after
exactly.
launch, so
Exactly.
It's all a chess game.
It really is. They
don't
just
know.
they bit off too much. This is, in my opinion, this is like Starfield. It just took forever. They spent a shit ton of money, and it really
So
didn't. come
Starfield
out.
might be better in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not as broken though, which is good.
Yeah, that's true. Oh no, it's still broken.
So I have heard. So I'm actually combining this topic, another topic, into one big topic.
Oh, okay,
Or
man.
damn
Damn
the
it.
other
This
one.
isn't going on long enough.
Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna wrap it
We're
up.
just
but I just
Cyberpunk
wanna,
news.
I want to close up with.
I gotcha,
the,
I gotcha.
The redemption arc of CD Projekt Red, and that I feel like personally they've redeemed themselves with this game, and I don't want to give them full credit because again, this game should have been fixed at launch. They should have given it
Very
another 2 or
happy you
3
said
years.
that.
But I'm also
Yeah.
worried that had the game come out 2 to 3 years later and none of us had ever played it, would it have been as good without the player feedback slamming the shit out of it? You know what I mean?
It's possible.
Because Starfield, the guys were like, "Oh yeah, we think this game is gonna be great," and they didn't really test it a lot. And then when it came out, then everybody's finding all the holes, and I'm like,
I don't know.
but it sucks though because we didn't used to have this problem.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It does not matter because no matter what, if it came out in the next 2 years,
Would Spider-Man? Would Spider-Man say? Would Spider-Man 2 say that?
they-
Oh, we
yeah, no,
we thought
no,
it was
no.
good.
But like Brett said, we're dealing with two different focus points.
Yeah.
I understand why this game didn't do well, and I understand why this one did well because they were mostly focused in on what they needed to focus in on. With this one, if it came out tomorrow or whatever, not dealing with other games that are coming out, we will still run into the same issue where people will play it and they'll get feedback from us and then they'll fix it down the road. At least they are fixing it instead of just saying, fuck it, we're done, like with Anthem or something. Didn't fucking fix that at all and just look where we're at with that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this is the problem. The problem is communication, 100%. If Baldur's Gate, Larian Studios, super honest with you up front, we're releasing this early access. Here's a part that you can play, and then when it comes out,
Years later, they finally bring the game out.
yeah, and you know what? It's still broken. There's issues with Baldur's
But then
Gate
again,
3.
you're like-
but you know what? You got you paid the money, you played it, you knew what you get yourself into, you know you're going to wait, and now it comes out and it's freaking amazing. And I think they pushed that back the timeline, or they pushed back the release date a few times. All these AAA games are always like, oh, it's out, play it. Oh, it's broken.
But
we'll fix it.
look at Forspoken. They came out with a demo of that for everyone to play because they thought it was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah,
And guess what?
well, that
happened?
was literally
Fucking
just a demo.
shit. Yeah, but it was a demo and it's still
Absolute garbage.
absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
I can understand why they're like, let's not put this out there because
Yeah.
it's going to affect our first week of sales and shit like that.
I do
Because we know
think-
it sucks.
I do think, to your point, Austin, I think what Larian Studios did is something that I think a lot of development studios should take note of, and that it is a very dense, deep RPG with a lot of systems. They brought out early access, they got feedback, they fixed it, they made it better. I feel like every RPG that is so dense like that should follow similar suit. And there's so many
City
people
Project
that-
Red is still
that
an
dive
indie company.
There's so many people that dive into these RPGs and play this guy 287 hours on this game. That's insane. The game takes 30 hours to beat. It's but you put 287 hours into it. So there's people that will play the shit out of these things and review them, make them better. And then those that don't will just do like what we did, and just like we played a little bit of early access, and then we waited till the full game came out. I think that's a better approach to prevent things like what happened with Cyberpunk. If they were to go that route, I think they'd be solid.
Like you get an infusion of cash. You do what Larry Studios did. Like you could easily put hundreds of hours into that one little section and played over and over. And they released new classes, so you want to go back and try a new class and combinations. And it's like that's fun. Yeah, it doesn't. There's not a lot there because eventually you just run out of stuff to do and ways to play. But you could do that with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You could release like a little part of the game that people can go and have fun with for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, the world's so massive, so huge. It's just apple and oranges with what Larian is building.
Well, I think what'll be, I was reading a few articles about what CD Projekt Red's doing going forward with the new
Garbage.
the new Witcher game, and then I know they're working on another Cyberpunk at some point. They're not going to use Red Engine anymore. They're going all in on Unreal. I think that's going to be a big
That's
bonus.
huge.
They're not having to touch their own. They're not having to modify an engine.
Yeah.
They also mentioned that they are testing console first. So they're already testing with the new game that they're working on. Like they're doing console first testing, which is great. You know, so they're not going to be like focusing on the PC stuff. So like they've learned the hard way, but I'm hopeful that they're learning, and like the next game they bring out is gonna be like, holy shit. This is they're back, baby. You know what
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Yeah. So, anyway,
This is a good point on this game, at least the main game. Game holds your hand way too much and is very low stakes. I had to turn difficulty to hard and then very hard, which means the enemies can kill you, but more likely it's hard because they soak up a ton of bullets. There's no reason to try and be stealthy, and the game doesn't punish you for dying or getting the cops called on you in any significant way. You don't lose XP, and it's not like GTA where you were forcibly taken to jail or the hospital when you mess up. In Cyberpunk, you just get reloaded to the checkpoint, never more than a minute or two behind where you were. Yeah, I think that's good.
yeah,
You just especially very low stakes.
yeah,
Anyway, that's that. It was fun.
cool. Yeah, Cyberpunk.
You gonna finish it?
Check it out. Oh yeah, I'll finish it.
Okay.
Yeah, I might actually restart it and play from the beginning again.
Playing
Oh,
on
wow.
PC.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's averaging like 60, 70 frames per second with
Grab.
everything maxed out, but no ray tracing. Yeah, it's been good. It's fun.
Very cool.
Cool beans.
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. Night City. Night City. Night City.
Not city.
Night City.
Not city.
Not the city.
This
Itty,
is
itty,
huge.
ditty. Bup, bup,
32,000 to almost
That's a
a little
big
over
jump.
250. Like, dude, that's a pretty good comeback.